What is up, everybody? My name is Dane Thompson, and welcome back to another episode of BurnDown. So we are going to spend today playing with the Maliboom once again. If you guys watched the last episode, you know that I put the fenders on, and then we cut the bracing and the stuff on the hood out, and that's where we left off. So today, what we're going to try to do is make this a lift-off hood. The reason I don't use it as a pin-on hood, because initially this thing was made as a fiberglass pin-on where it would have a hinge and you pin it down. Well, when you put the fiberglass fenders on, there's no provision for hinges, and even if I use some sort of hinge, it would have to hinge off the firewall because there's no way this hinge has the structure to hold a hood like that. So we just decided to shave it down, cut a few more pounds out of it, and then we'll just pin it on, and I'll have to take it off and on, kind of race car style, I guess, once we get to the track and do the things that we're going to be doing. But what we're going to do today is work on the Dzus fasteners. I have done a little bit of Dzus work, but it's usually with sheet steel, so this hood's a lot thicker, so I think it's going to be a process because we're going to have to shave the hood down where we want it to lay on the Dzuses and to get them to clamp and stuff. I think it's going to be kind of a pain, but what I've done so far is we just kind of set them out on the hood to get an idea of what it could look like, and then we're going to figure out how to actually get it done. So here is like the tentative layout. I've got 8 of these things, and this hood structure is pretty thick still. So I know I've seen cars where they have like 1 million of them, but I think those are those flimsy hoods that are just like noodles. So this one actually has some structure. So we'll go with 8, and then we'll see. My main concern is it lifting up, obviously catching air and lifting that way. So I think these guys are going to be pretty important. So we'll do these and then have one in close proximity here. And then this one's mainly to hold it up level, same kind of with this. Obviously they all hold it down and on the car, but yeah, so this is my tentative layout. The other problem I found is I just got the short ones, and I was like, oh, I'll just rivet these to the fender. Well, if I bent this, it would be too short and it would hit the edge of the fender. And the other thing too is they had longer ones, and I had them in my hand, and then I was like, oh, I don't need those, I'll get this. So I basically kind of screwed the pooch on that. So these ones should just be able to pretty much weld straight to the cowl, so that's simple. These are supposed to rivet to the fender, so we'll have to do something with that. Probably just extend it. I'll just make an L bracket and weld it, so that way they just can rivet here, and then that's the distance. And then these, I have no idea how those are going to attach. We'll have to make something, some sort of standoff or something to get these to work properly, I would imagine. And since there's no engine and stuff, it's probably a really good time to do these, because once I kind of get the hood where it's going to go, I would imagine if I get the back, so this is level, and then get these guys, it'll basically sit where it's going to be. And then we might be able to get underneath and kind of get an idea of how to knock these ones out and get them in the right spot. So that is the plan. I'm going to stare at it a little bit more and figure out what we're doing next. But I think extending these, I'm just going to put a little L bracket on the bottom. I'll just cut some out of sheet steel, and then we'll just do a quick weld on these. And I only have 4 of them to do out of 8, so I figure it's not that bad. Although, hindsight, like I said, they had longer ones. I could have just put these in the brake and then bent them, and it would have been good. But, you know, that's the way building goes. So let's get to it. All right, I came back here to my stomp shear, and I save different material all the time, as you can see. And I ended up having this. This is from a truck. I did a firewall panel, and this was supposed to be one of the sides, and I didn't use it. And it happens to be, let's see if I can do this one-handed without cutting my hand off, the exact thickness of these little tabs that we got. And, whew, probably loud, I got enough space on the bottom, so I'm just going to cut a strip out of the bottom of this, and then what we'll do is we'll just chop up as many of these as we need, and I'll figure out the depth. The reason I don't fold these down, if you're wondering, because I'd probably have a little bit. I could probably do like maybe 1/4 and still land on the edge of the hood, but the thicker this portion is where it folds down, I'm going to have it's just putting stress against the fender. So if it's thicker, it's just going to spread the load better. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'll make multiples of these, so when I rivet it, I can have one to back it, and then one to grab it on the front. So we'll show you guys, but yeah, let me cut a strip out of this, and then we'll go from there. All right, here is the strip that I cut. That's the same width, and then we just chopped it, bam, 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 into 4 pieces. I eyeballed this one, I didn't like it so much, so I made this one, measured it a little bit, and then I just transferred all the holes with my little rope Whitney punch here. But what I'm going to do now, I have 4 of these and we can be done, but I want to back these on either side of the fiberglass, on the sides of the fenders, to give it some rigidity and to spread the load, like I said, so it doesn't break, you know, right away. So I'm going to chop 4 more of these boys out, and then I'm going to go back through and match these up and punch the holes. So that way when I go to assemble these things, they line up, because if they don't line up, they're not going to rivet properly. And I don't need to struggle any more than I have been. So we're going to do that. So let me cut 4 more of these, and then we'll punch the holes together. So. These aren't perfect by any stretch. This is just real quick. It's not rocket science. Just trying to get stuff done. If the stores were open today, I would just buy the long ones and not deal with any of this. Okay, here's my 4. Here's my 4 pieces. Okay, we got 4 more. As you can see, they're not perfectly square, but I'm okay with what we got. So now I'm going to take these and overlay them and punch the holes. This one to this one, this one to this one, so on. So all of these will be able to back these up, or vice versa. Okay, we're trying to be smart here. So what I'm doing is I'm putting both of them together. The one with the hole that I want on top. Then I can center my little punch guy in that hole, like that. So now they line up and they punch it. See, now they're both in the same spot, right? So we take it off like this. I run a cleco through. Now, I can just punch that hole, and then these will line up for shizzle. Now, just a quick way I figured out how to make it exact. So, there you go. Now this one is good to go. Pull the cleco out, keep it facing the same direction, and then I put numbers on the top, so I know what's the top and what's the bottom. Like so, voila. Just stacks on that, the holes line up. We're good to go. Let me get this last one done, and we will move on to welding. All right, we've got the production welding station, the Gapper 3000, set up, and then I'm just gonna weld these little dudes on here. I got 4 of them to do, and that should be that. I'm just gonna weld them, man. We're just gonna go out on a limb and say that's gonna work, hopefully. So let me get through these, and then I'll bring you guys back and show you what we got for that. And then while these are cooling, maybe we can take a look at how we're gonna do the other ones. Alright, should be good enough for government work. Not super special. You gotta really thin, so just trying to move and not blow a hole through it. So we got the rest of these boys, let them cool off, and that should be good to go. Let's move on. All right, while those dudes are chilling, these ones literally, I think I could just weld it straight to this piece, just stitch it on there, and Bob's your uncle. And then I can even just weld from the top. Obviously, I'm not gonna be able to weld from the bottom, so I think that's what we're gonna do on these guys. Because this is still steel. Technically, I could take it off because I could rivet it, but we're not. We're lazy. So I'll just get a measurement on what I like. Maybe we'll just throw this back up there and look at it real quick, and then we'll measure the distance, and then maybe kind of get the height and all the stuff. So let me put the hood on, and then we'll fudge that real quick, because that'll hold the back up, and that kind of sets the tone, I hope, for the rest of this. Okay, so I was getting my measurements on this thing back and forth. I put a couple little springs in one, and I was kind of getting it where I thought it might go, but this hood is thick, right? And it's very thick back here. This is 1/2 inch. And it tapers up. It's more of a lip that's 1/2 inch, but it's pretty darn thick. So I have a loose Dzus fastener, and I set it on here. Well, this can't capture anything at that point. So this little piece where it ends is where it rides, so that thing's too thick. So what I'll do is I'm gonna shave this area out, and then I think the thickness here, I guess I could mic it. Yeah, because this is much thinner here than it is with this double. So what I'll do is I'll just mark both of these, and then I'm gonna grind this down or sand it down until it's probably 1/4 inch or maybe a little thinner, and then we'll see if we can't mount this. And then I'm gonna have to do that. The whole edge on this thing is like that, but I know I want these here, so we'll just sand those areas down, and then as we decide where the other ones are gonna go, we will do the same thing. All right, I've got my technical measuring devices, got my holes marked off on both sides, and I was sweating punching holes a little bit, but then I realized even if I punch these a little off and it moves things, I'll just break those tacks off and move it around. So it's not the end of the world. So I'm just gonna punch both of these at the same time, and if we throw it back down and it doesn't want to really play too nice, I can literally pin it to here and then just tack it that way. So this part's easy. These dudes may be the fun stuff. All right, we've got 2 hood Dzus fasteners installed, and then I went with a short rivet so it actually doesn't poke out the bottom, so this can lay flush, because it literally just sits on here. I guess this is recessed a little bit, but I didn't want any interference. Plus, it's just meant to hold this on. There shouldn't be a lot of stress on these little rivets, so that should be enough. If I have issues later on, we can do it differently, but it just expanded inside there a little bit and broke off. So like I said, they're not gonna fall off, and then the tension's gonna hold them down like that anyway. So let's put it back on, see if it works. Maybe I could just stitch those dudes up and call it good. Then we'll have 2 Dzus fasteners, and we are awesome. If we drove the car the way it is, the hood would flip up and break the windshield and probably fly off. So we've got a bunch more to do. So let's put these on and revel in our victory. This is taking me way too long, forever. Bam! All right, well there you have it. It went back in place. It was funny because I used the Dzus to kind of to center this, and then I went around and locked the other one in place and then locked them both up. So let's get on to doing these side rail ones, and then if I could figure out a decent method to do that, because I got to do 4 of them here. So I figured 2 in the back, you know, 1 here, 1 here, and then 1 on the front somehow. So I'm out there working on this stuff, and I was texting the guys and asking them to talk me out of bad decisions, like this whole conglomerate next time. I was like, why can't you guys be good friends and talk me out of this? So Reed's like, yeah, you should have just used self-tappers, idiot. See, they're blowing me up now. And yeah, I feel like pretty soon at this point, I'm gonna go crazy like Ricky Bobby and probably strip down to just my tidy whities. I'm gonna run down, and instead of Tom Cruise, I'm gonna scream for Tim McAnus to save me. Tim McAnus, come, McAngus, whatever your name is, come save me. Tim McAnus. What is his name? Now I'm confused. It's been a long day.
Help me, Tom Cruise!
But how did he get down to his underwear that fast?
Tom Cruise using witchcraft on me!
Okay, I marked this off. Took the hood back off again. It was 16 inches. I went from the rear, so 16, and then another 16. And then we'll land the other hood pin. I don't even know how we're gonna contend with this, but let's just do these first. So also, if you're wondering how I'm finding where I need to be, like on this side, I have my piece of tape with my line, and then I marked it on the side, and you bring it over, And I just center one of these boys like that. Something like so. Woo! And then we just trace around it. So that's what I did over there. And then we'll do both of these. And then what I do now after that is we come back and shave it down like how I shaved this, to where it's about a 1/4 inch or so. That's what both of these ended up being, so we still have some structure. So let me do that with all of these. I'll bring you guys back. It's gonna take me a little while to get that all done. Then we can figure out how to mount it, set it on. And then these boys up here, I don't even know. So we're not even gonna try to think about those yet. Let's just get through these. Just in case you guys are wondering. So here's the L brackets. I clamped them. Now we can mark them all off. And then we'll sandwich rivet these. So I want to rivet these in place so they're done. And then there's enough room, if you see underneath here, I can just mark these from the bottom. So these should be fairly simple. And then I'm going to weld these right now. So that way, in case they move or shimmy, we'll lock these down. And then these will be riveted before we make the holes. That way nothing jogs or moves. Here we go. You got 6 of these bad boys in. Buddy of mine just dropped this dolly off that I need for this week. So before he did that, I drilled these down. So now we got to take these out, take the hood back off, drill these through, and then I will rivet these, put it back in place, and figure out how we're going to capture the front, because this is the last piece. See, it all moves right here. So we capture somewhere around this area on both sides. I think we're gonna be looking pretty darn good. I'm pretty excited. Just want to be done with this. I want to be done with this stuff. Way too hard for what it is. You know, this is the first time I felt good about my decision to do this right now, without the engine in it. And this is why. You got access. I can do stuff like this with no motor, no nothing. So we can decide where to put the front hood pins and be done. So here's a good look at these guys underneath here. Woo-wee! Look at that. So let me struggle, figure out where these go. We'll install it and I'll bring you guys back for a look at our new front clip on the Maliboom. It was a lot, a lot of work. So I'm cool with it. I'm glad it turned out nice. Hopefully these play nice and we get this done, and we'll bring you guys back, and then we can move on to stripping paint soon, and then engine assembly. So I can kind of do those things little by little, which would be nice. This, I just want to get it knocked out and be done with it. So it's like ripping off a band-aid. So, all right, let me mess this. I'll bring you guys back when it looks awesome. If it looks awesome. All right, well, there you have it. The sun is going down. It took a bit more time to make these standoffs on the front than I thought it would, but this bad boy is on there, at least as well as I'm gonna put it on there. So we will see how it goes when we take it down the track. So I'll give you guys a quick look at it. I'm pretty excited about this thing. So these ones have some standoffs, and then as you can see, you had to cut in all of these and the rear ones that hold it in place. But all in all, looks good. Now we can get on to body working this, knocking the paint down, cleaning this thing up a bit, squirting a little paint on it. And we've got a 6-liter, the 6-point disc we need to put together, slam in this thing. But the front end is done. There's a lot of work. If you've never done anything like this, just plan ahead, take your time, maybe get somebody to help you do it. Again, I've never done it, but you know, I just took my time apparently because it took me all weekend just to mount 2 fenders and a hood. Not good. All right, you guys know what to do. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. Let's go race and support your local track, by the way. Get out there, go hot rod. I'm out.